There's the idea that the best work happens when everything's perfect. Amazing light, perfect planning, the perfect settings at the perfect location. The longer I've been creating, the more I came to realize that the best work happens outside the perfect setting. It's the ones where the weather ignores the forecast, where the timing gets out of hand, where you're forced to react instead of running with the plan. That's where the real stories start, and that's where I'm at home. So, I took out the R6 Mk for a weekend. Not into the studio, not with amazingly pre-lit sets, but straight into whatever I could find. Waterfalls, family portraits, dirt, fire, night, electric motorcycles like these little Suron thingies, and let me tell you, they're awesome, shredding all day long, you can't beat it. And yeah, 2 days, one camera straight out of the box, no backup safety nets, just pure fun like it's supposed to be. And come on guys, where's the fun? Let's get out and have some laughter and some action. First on our list, a waterfall photo shooting with a model. Now substitute the model with a friend of mine and add my best buddy behind the B cam and on we go. To be honest, this year's winter is kinda mild, but it's very cold nevertheless. Mist everywhere, skies were raining down on us. Everything was wet, not the environment I wanted to take my new camera first. On second thought though, I really love this. This is where my gear needs to shine. And so it did. New cameras these days impress me. The sheer speed and accuracy of the autofocus with eye tracking is otherworldly. I'd even say it's probably the best I've seen so far. With a camera like this, it's pretty hard to mess up a shot. Of course it's not perfect and I'll show you some misses later on, but for now, and this kind of shooting, it can't get any better. Speaking of shots, the 33.5 megapixel sensor on this camera is a big step up from its predecessor, and I'm so glad it did not take a hit in reading speed. Cropping in? No biggie, it's still very crisp. And in terms of photography I guess this is the standard nowadays and it did never once disappoint me. In videography terms, the R6 Mk is just packed with power. You can record up to raw 7K 30fps, and if you tone it down a little bit to raw light you can get up to 60 fps. There's plenty of other modes and I will talk about them later, but let me tell you, the slow-mo on this camera is very nice. I can record in C-Log 3 and now even in C-Log 2, which is great for dynamic range. It's an ongoing trend to include features that only Canon's cinema line cameras could do so far. Another feature I want to talk about is the open gate recording mode. It's another feature that's in everyone's mouth nowadays, and I partially get it. It's a nice few extra pixels for cropping and reframing or maybe even vertical shots. It's an easy accessible nice feature if you want to go down that route. You won't get any slow-mo though, it's only 30 fps. After using the camera in pretty much non-stop rain, we headed to the next location. We decided on a family photo shooting with my sister, her family and their newest member. Let's just say shootings like these are pretty hard on the camera's eye tracking system and unpredictability becomes the new workflow. First of all, the autofocus tracking people with eye detection was fabulous. It was spot on most of the time, no hunting, not losing the subject even when turning their head away, locking in on the head and returning back to the eye when they turned back to the camera. As I said, the weekend was pretty much full of action. There was no real time for planning and the only ththings we brought were a light and a generator powering it. There was no time for any kind of gimbal or tripod and I was primarily using my Canon 85mm, which is a pretty cheap lens, but it comes with image stabilization, and I also used my Sigma 50mm 1.4, which does not. I shot everything handheld with the internal image stabilization turned on, not the digital one though. And I had never any problems with jittering or the stabilization failing on me. And let's be honest, you all like to do a little warp stabilization in Premiere Pro. Let's talk slow motion. The camera can shoot in up to 120 frames a second in 4K, and if you tone it down a little bit, it can go up to 180 frames in 2K. The quality in 4K is absolutely amazing, and if you go to 2K, it's obviously not as crisp on a 4K monitor, but it allows for amazing scenes. Imagine using this for short videos in portrait mode, you won't notice any kind of quality drop on a mobile phone. There is this one new feature I wanted to try. It is called face recognition, and it allows the camera to store up to 10 faces and track them with priority. We tried it, and after some failed attempts, okay, let's be honest, we tried it on a child. We had a pretty hard time to get him to look into the camera, and yeah, in hindsight, pretty much not the best idea ever. We managed to save his face and the camera did its magic. I'm not sure how often I would use this feature, but I can imagine that if you're shooting a wedding or something and you have to prioritize a certain amount of people, it can be absolutely golden. Oh yeah, and it even shows a small little icon around the person you're targeting. Coming from the family shooting, we decided to grab my motorcycle, and look at it, it's just a beauty. I mean, I love this machine, it's design, the lines, wow. However, my buddy was promoted from B-cam to rider, and we decided to take some shots from a moving car. Props to him for not freezing off his fingers, it was pretty much ice cold and very wet. Handheld from a moving car with wind, tiny bumps all over the place was pretty hard, but it seemed manageable. We also took shots from the side to check for some rolling shutter problems, but it wasn't really noticeable with speeds like this during filming. We also took a test shot though, an image directly from the side where he was going exactly the speed limit, and yeah, it was pretty bad there, but you know, it was kinda quick. Strangely enough, on that day the sun decided to push through the clouds, and this made for some very bright sky, and it was great for dynamic range testing. Even though the sky was real bright and we deliberately chose very dark clothes, the scene was far from clipping and we had enough headroom. As it was getting darker, and yeah, believe me, I kinda hate this season where the sun only shows up at 8 o'clock and tucks back under at 4. I just wanna go out and take some photos, I mean, don't you? Yeah, anyways, I had to bump up the ISO a little bit, but it did not really affect the noise at all. After a whole day of shooting and freezing off our fingers, buns and whatever you can freeze off, we decided to go for some pizza. After that, it was completely dark and we went to a train station with the motorcycle and decided to do some test shots with very high ISO numbers. I don't think the noise is really noticeable in the RAW file, but if you bump up the shadows like I did for the edit, it kinda gets noticeable, but you know, it was ISO 8000. Before I move on to the second day of shooting, let me tell you a bit about the camera itself. I've owned Canons all my life. I had the DC40 with small little CDs, had the 500D, the 70 Mark II, 60 Mark II, and yeah, even the EOS RP for a little while for traveling, the EOS R, the R6, which is the one I'm filming this video with. I've had the R7, and yeah, a big collection of vintage cameras from Canon, and I have to say, they all feel the same. Grabbing this, you feel right at home. It's such a familiar feeling. You don't have to look for any buttons, it's very intuitive. Yeah, it's a Canon. And even better, it's a new Canon, it's still fresh, it has very tacky grip. Yeah, not much to talk about button-wise. I like the photo-video switch, joystick is great, and yeah. We switched from 2 SD cards like the R6 to an SD and a CF card. And this is absolutely great for video because filming in 7K 60 puts in 2500 megabits per second, and yeah, CF cards offer speeds you wouldn't believe. Another epic feature in my opinion, and thank you Canon, thank you very much for this, thank you for listening. We finally switched from the small HDMI to a standard sized HDMI port. I mean, look how flimsy this thing is. That's just unacceptable. I don't want to worry about the mild breeze breaking it off on every shooting, so yeah, thank you for that. In most of the modes, Canon seems to have fixed the overheating issue. I shot in 4K 60 all day long and I never ran into any problems. Gerald Undone has made a video on the camera and he managed to overheat it. I believe it was in 7K, but I'm not sure. Head over to his channel and check out the video. For what I use the camera outdoors, 4K 60, occasionally 120, it's absolutely great. Now, let's head out to the second day. As you can see, the rain stopped and everything was dry again. No, not at all. The rain did not stop. The rain did not stop at all. It was not dry at all. So yeah, you either hate it or love it. My friend and I, actually B-cam guy and I, we got ourselves some Cern electric motorcycles, and yeah, These are perfect for testing the tracking ability of the Mark III straight on. But then, what do you select? Vehicle, people, automatic? This was the time we had the most misses, straight on in all 3 modes. During 8 repetitions, the camera failed 2 times to recognize anything, and 1 time it started to skip around and lost focus right at the beginning. What about photo mode though? The camera had no issues tracking the subject from beginning to the end, so I don't think there is any camera I've tested so far that can compete with this, in the same price range that is. We wanted to test the autofocus a little bit further, so we found ourselves a steep hill and did a very fast pass downhill. The camera was able to track him right until the end. Also, don't you love being close to the action? I mean, listen to this. 3 people right behind the camera, a handlebar flying by with 50 miles an hour, and yeah, listen to this. Fun times, right? Okay, short intermission. How about tracking a subject in a dark forest? No problem at all. The electronic shutter allows for up to 40 images a second, even though we have this big sensor, which is pretty much insane. You can't miss any part of the action like this. Be aware though, crawling through thousands of photos is tedious work. Let's test rolling shutter again in this situation. What better shot than a low down wide angle one, full speed through a big puddle to test that. Not bad really, you can only see it in the spokes a little bit. For the last of our tests, we took all our gear, including the now even worse weather, to our local lake, and we wanted to go for some dynamic range, noise and autofocus tests with fire. And what better way to do this than with fire breathing. Again, my Bcam buddy got swapped with another one, and the original Bcam buddy became now the fire breathing star of the evening. Even during nightfall, the camera was able to track the eyes flawlessly. The only thing that made it fail constantly was smoke or fire right in front of the eyes, but I guess I can live with that. Trouble was exposing for the fire, since I didn't want to blow out the highlights too much. So everything was exposed pretty dark, and yeah, it was a very good test for noise. At ISO 1600 to 3200, the noise was pretty minimal, and I can definitely live with that. The R6 Mark III has another feature I kinda like. It's called continuous pre-recording, and it's especially useful in motorcycle stuff or unpredictable stuff anyways. You point your camera, everything is in frame, but your shutter finger is just a tad bit too slow. No problem. The camera pre-records 20 frames automatically, and you're never going to miss a shot like this. The 40 FPS electronic shutter made for some epic scenes, revealing a few details we never thought about. I mean, look at this. Does this look normal? Completely distorted face, and then whoosh, fire, like fire everywhere, fire in his face. Wow, epic stuff. I love it. And do you know what I also love? Fire and slow motion. So let's do it. Kinda up my alley, I love it. And after a long day's worth of shooting and getting rained on constantly, I finally decided to join the action, and we had some fun. Let's talk about the nitty-gritty I couldn't find online anywhere. No one talks about it, and not even Canon mentions it anywhere. First of all, be careful recording high resolution with high frame rates. I tried every combination, and I came to notice that the camera cannot always play back 7K raw light with 60 FPS. On some clips it works, on others it just stops after more or less 1 second. I can play back them in slow motion inside the camera, but as soon as I go to full speed, it fails. This happens in C-Log 2 and C-Log 3, and it's kinda annoying. So if you have to play back your videos inside the camera, Just keep that in mind. It might not happen to you, but it happened to me a few times now, so I thought I might bring up the issue. You might think it's a problem with my CF card, maybe it's too slow, but it is not, and I even tried with a faster one. Fun fact though, during filming these quirks, I could not recreate the problem. Where is it? Is it gone? I don't know. I mean, yeah. And I tried, could not recreate it, no dice. Somewhere in the editing process, I went out with my buddy to do some photography, good old hike, high in the mountains, and then it happened. And I even filmed it. So look at this. Click play, again and again. It's just 1 second. In DaVinci Resolve, the files work flawlessly. So yeah, it has to be the camera. Playing them back in slow motion, it works. Going back to full speed, after 1 second, it's done. At first I thought my camera might be defective, and yeah, I tried it with another one and same problem over there. Also a pretty annoying one, this one is probably more an Adobe problem than a Canon one, but Premiere Pro, After Effects and Media Encoder won't correctly replay the 7K raw light 60 FPS format. Thing is, it only happens with the 60 FPS format. I tried 50 and it worked. I tried 60 and it fails. I wanted to use it for some semi-slow motion, for some sport action, and yeah. At first I thought maybe my computer might be the problem, so I tried it on another one, same result. I then tried it with a buddy's camera, and you wouldn't believe it, same result on both machines. The biggest problem here, you can't even transcode it in your Adobe suite. It won't work. You can't even use shutter encoder or any plugin like that if you're using Windows. If you're using a Mac, you can use the Canon RAW development tool and export ProRes, which Windows does not allow. I then went down a rabbit hole. I tried it with DaVinci Resolve, the free version, and it could display the files flawlessly. No pink banding, nothing at all. So yeah, I tried to export them, but it's limited to 4K, which is not a problem. The only thing you can really do is to use a Mac with the Canon RAW developer tool, buy DaVinci Resolve Studio, which is kind of expensive just for converting files, or wait until Adobe supports this. So, bummer. Conclusion time. First of all, let me attest how well this camera worked in the cold, in the rain, dripping wet, splashed with dirt, grabbed by a 1.5-year-old. It's just amazing. Nothing worse than a camera you cannot rely on or that quits mid-shoot. And I really think this one can keep up. Trusting a camera makes for a much more relaxed shooting environment, which allows for shenanigans from time to time, like these ones that had us laugh for hours. Especially that one. Listen for the horn in the end. Good times. The last 10 years were quite a journey for me. Cameras started to get better faster. Each upgrade promised even more. The R6 Mark III is a beast in resolution, frame rates, low light, autofocus. It's fully packed with features. But then, remembering back only a few years, shooting with my DSLRs, the photos are comparable to the ones I take today. So not that much has changed. Then, later on, even though I had my R6 and my R7, I oftentimes used my EOS R for landscape shots. Not because I was not happy with the better ones, but because it was a very joyful experience to be good with each of them. Even today, some of my best shots came from the EOS R. The only thing changing was the workflow. Being a little more careful with the highlights, checking ISO a few times over, occasionally missing a shot. This is where the R6 Mark III is a big step up. You simply don't miss a shot, and I guess that's the point of many other reviewers. You simply deliver instead of asking for another try. You spend way less time and you gain so much more space for creativity, which is the thing that drives me. Learning new stuff, experimenting, delivering when it counts. Cameras are now there, especially the R6 Mark III.